So we need to look into some of them. Do you know that right now your doctor can take an x-ray of your bones, send that to a service that will put it into a computer-assisted design program and map out a replacement for a piece of bone. Send that file back to the doctor's office to a special printer, and he can print a three-dimensional replacement and put it in your arm. And you look at what we can do as people when we're liberated, and look at this solution, these solutions that are coming up. All right, so what do we have to do about it? Nothing new here. I'm going to show you two things. One of those is spread the word. We've got a lot of people that do not understand what TIA is, what the benefits and what the costs are. And there are some benefits in there. There are some projects right here in Metro Atlanta region that are very worthwhile. And all of them may be in some of the other 11 districts. So you got to dig into the projects. But we've got to inform people, and that includes our government officials. I sat down at Starbucks with one of our city council women, and was talking about TIA and kind of alluded to Agenda 21. She had never heard the term, Agenda 21. Now, she's not a dumb lady. She just is busy. She's a mom. She has got a business. So we've got an obligation to educate people. And I'm not going to go through all of these, but that speak during public comment. Get up at your city council, get up at your county commission meeting. You don't have to be as eloquent as Tom. Just say, I oppose this. I don't think it's a wise use of my resources. Or get onto your question list and ask them some of those. One other down there at the very bottom, call them out on the blogs when you get on the AJC blog or your local newspaper. If someone's feeding a bunch of Kool-Aid out there, call them on it. Media, you've got to help shape opinion. Chambers of Commerce, challenge them. When they say this is great for the region, look at some of the questions we're going to go through, and don't let them get away with that stuff. And also challenge their member businesses. If you walk in and some of the member businesses are supporting it, ask them, why are you doing that? The next piece is also to challenge some of these, I call them proponents of failure. Because up here, it's a losing proposition. And those are some of the people that I would ask the questions to. And some legislators feel exactly the way we do. They're supporters up there. County commissioners. We've got a county commissioner down in Fayette County, Steve Brown. A lot of articles in the newspaper, very outspoken. He challenged the Speaker of the House at one meeting. How are we going to pay for all this stuff? And the Speaker had his tap dancing shoes on. At another meeting, he challenged the state planning officer, Todd Long. How are we going to pay for it? Todd went through some song and dance, and he said, Todd, you didn't answer the question. Will you answer the question? Call him out on it. We talk about roads in general. What kind of shape are our roads in here in Georgia? They're pretty good. They're in the top 10 in the United States. About a year or two ago, one of the polls had them #1 out there. You can see the truthometer down there in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, big regional paper that evaluates the validity of claims. It's pegged on true. We got great roads. We're using them less. That's the vehicle miles traveled per year. And guess what? It's gone down about 4% between 2005 and 2008. I don't have anything more recent because I don't think it's been published yet. So you'd think if we've got great roads to begin with and we're using them less, do we need more money or less money? All right, over on your left is a Georgia Department of Transportation budget slide. And it shows that they've got a 2011 budget right at $2 billion. Over on the right-hand side are the tax estimates from this tax they want you to vote on yourself. And it's about 1.5, so that's a 77% increase in money available to throw at transportation problems. Well, if I got the best roads, I'm using them less, do I need a 77% tax imposed on myself?
How about the other program?
I mean, you know, these are the kind of things that you just want to point out.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Don't you think that the economic situation right now is affecting the vehicle miles traveled? I mean,
Sure.
it's got to.
Sure.
There's people out there, and it's
I don't think it's having a 77% impact on it.
sitting down in the trend right now, but when our
Yep.
economic situation does change, people do have jobs, they're going to be required, there's going to be
Certainly.
ability requirements.
Certainly there will be. Well, let me grab questions later so we can keep going because I may cover it in there. So there's one of the questions. If the roads are among the best and we're using them less, why a 77% increase? Maybe like the gentleman said back here, you know, we ought to anticipate future growth. This is probably a relatively inexpensive time to do more building or improvement, so maybe we need to give them a 10% or a 20%. 77% sounds a little high. All right. This is the next thing that they're telling you. You got to do it because it relieves congestion. You got to put in all this transit, more buses and more trains. And why do I show the Kool-Aid up there? Because I look at a Georgia Department of Transportation survey of commuters. And down there in the little circle, it shows you that a total of 5% of commuters are using rail and bus to get to work and back. Okay? If that's the case, why is the allocation of money so lopsided? Well, we've got 52% of it going to transit projects. And guess what? I've got to beware the camel's nose. He's kind of getting it under the tent there. Because curiously, on their website, if you go to October 13th and you look at the list of projects, they've omitted a column that was in the August version. And that column is the total cost of projects. And the total cost of those projects for transit is just double what they're showing in October. Now remember, we talked about we take 10 years to get the studies done, to get the drawings, to start buying the stuff, and all of a sudden it's, whoa, wait a minute, we've got to finish the project. But what's the ultimate cost? Who knows? Do these things ever go over budget? All right, here's some of the questions to ask. We're playing Jeopardy again. Now that second one is one that I asked to the Transportation Roundtable. And I said, how many cars are we going to take off the road for $3.2 billion? Don't know. How many do we need to take off for $3.2 billion? Remember, gang, that was one of the two stated purposes for the whole deal out there. And then what are some of the other alternatives? And is there a common way to compare the cost benefit? Like what is the passenger cost per mile of transit versus, you know, doing something with managing stoplights or improving roads? So is there an agenda at work, or is there a thoughtful business analysis that protects tax dollars and helps you get to work? The blue is the amount of revenue collected by MARTA each year. The red is the operating expenses. I'd point out two things. One, look at the trend. In 2010, they lost $508 million. You figure, Bob, 2010, you know, that was quite a while ago. What happened to 2011?